With Steph Curry bringing home the All-Star Game MVP in the Bay, the Warriors kicked off their post-break schedule with their first win against a California team. Moses Moody continues to make his mark in the starting lineup, posting a season-high 22 points and impacting both ends of the floor. Moody knocked down shots while showing a growing feel for his role in the Warriors' offense, so let's break down his performance. The Warriors got great performances from all of their shooting guards, or small or power forwards or whatever they are in the Steve Kerr system. Podziemski sets a back screen for Steph, and because Sacramento is not switching, Malik Monk does a poor job being more focused on pods rather than the weapon that is Steph Curry. Draymond's man of Sabonis is always in a drop. However, we know that opposing coaches often say that even though they allow Dre to shoot, this also gives him the entire court to survey his passing skills. Curry becomes wide open and completely collapses a defense from behind, forcing Zach LaVine to rotate over as the weak side low man. When Steph makes the fundamental pass to the weak side corner, DeRozan refuses to make the effort to close out, and Moses Moody drains the wide open three ball. The Kings were having a terrible time communicating on off-ball movement. You would imagine they are familiar with the Warriors system since Mike Brown, but some players just do not have defensive mindsets. We got another back screen set by Jimmy Butler, and Sacramento learns their mistake and switches. With Draymond having the ball up top and with some pressure, Steph runs baseline, and you can finally see Moses Moody immediate instinct not to look for the pass, but instead playing his role correctly and setting that exit screen for the greatest shooter to get a clean look. These are the plays that the young guns have been getting better at, as this creates another advantage with defensive juggernauts like Zach LaVine and DeRozan late on this switch communication. LaVine tries to cheat the pick, and Steph stops in his track for a wide open three. Great play by Moses. If anything, this play shows the gravity of Steph Curry simply running through the defense. Keegan Murray's eyes are only on Curry, so the entire right wing of the court is open. Shout out Buddy Hield for having another great game last night and making that extra pass, forcing Monk to leave Moody open just enough for a wide open catch and shoot three. Moody has a reputation for not being quick enough to guard shiftier guards. Here on the Sacramento pistol action, Ellis gets a dribble handoff and attacks with his weak left hand with Moody chasing from behind. Now, this is not exactly the most threatening play, as Ellis is not a Kyrie Irving or Darius Garland, but Draymond makes a smart play at stunting at Ellis, forcing him to pick up the dribble outside the free throw line. This gives Moody the opportunity to keep his hand up and not foul. Eventually reads the jump stop and timed this block perfectly for a shot clock violation. Great team defense here. The Kings try to match up zone in the second quarter, but Golden State countered them perfectly. With pause near the left elbow, the Warriors rotate and play to their strengths. Quentin Post runs to the opposite corner while Moody goes up slightly on the right wing. Both non-shooters like Jimmy and Draymond both cut, sucking in the defense and creating havoc inside the paint. This kick-out pass to Moody gives Ellis 10 feet of space to close out, allowing Moody to attack off the catch and put him in the spin cycle off a simple jab step. With the shot clock winding down, Moody takes a smaller defender off the dribble and uses his strength to knock down a nice 10-foot push shot. The Warriors run their triple split action here, which works well against defenses that do not switch off-ball screens. You can tell Ellis is already late off this first pod screen, but the second post screen catches his defender in the big man, and Valanciunas near the paint in a drop coverage. Moses Moody is able to come off the screen nicely for an in-rhythm catch-and-shoot three ball. Great motion offense here. Golden State simply looks like a different team out there with Jimmy Butler, and I'm not even focusing on him in this game. Steph's got a mismatch on the perimeter with Sabonis, so while he's trying to shade Curry to his left, Murray finally takes a risk and leaves his man the trap. If Steph gets a pass out to Draymond, there's probably no one better in history at taking advantage of a 4-on-3 on the backside. Malik Monk rotates over as the weak side low man, with LaVine sinking down to X out. We know 90% of the time Draymond is not shooting this shot, so he pressures the rim just enough before making the first kick-out pass to Moody. The Kings fail at defense again, when you see Sabonis begging Monk to rotate back out since he himself is back in the paint to guard Draymond, but Monk just does not seem to care as this extra pass by Moody finds a wide open Podziemski. Shout out Paz for also playing his best basketball of the season, and these are the wide open shots he was breaking earlier, but he's been nice with them since his injury. The Warriors also look much different since getting rid of Schroeder as their point guard. There are much more on-ball point guard Steph Curry minutes. Here on the Draymond pick and roll, the Kings change it up and become super aggressive by having Sabonis hedge the screen. One way to counter is to stretch the defense so far to the logo, then making that first pass and trying to attack the defense on the back end. Paz now has a 4-on-3 advantage on the backside. When Draymond cutting, this forces the Sacramento low man to think about him just enough. Another swing pass to the corner, and Monk actually does a pretty good job closing out, but Moody was in such a good rhythm last night and actually calls for the foul directly to the ref while the ball is in midair, before cashing the 4-point play. That is a bold move, and I love that confident smile. Another on-ball pick and roll for Steph Curry, this time with GP2. Sacramento traps this again, and Steph was just tearing them apart by successfully making these short roll passes. Payton attacks the paint, forcing Ellis to rotate over as the weak side low man. However, Sabonis is in no man's land as the supposed rim protector on this court right now. He's not on the perimeter guarding Draymond, who's not even in the picture, and he's not helping out in the paint. Moody switches up by not settling for a 3 and getting a wide open baseline to cut, and GP2 finds him for a layup. Great offense carving out the poor defense. With the commanding lead in the fourth quarter, everything was rolling offensively for Golden State. Even off good on-ball switches by Sacramento, this was a terrible offensive overall possession by the Warriors, leading to an ISO by Moses Moody on a much bigger defender. If Moody could ever develop his isolation and shot creating game, he can be a small Kuminga. But look at this hezzy in and out dribble, freezing Murray just enough to allow him to drive with a strong right hand, then raises the ball with his right hand, preventing it from getting stripped for a tough running hook shot. That was a nice move. For the last play, another example of the Warriors' role players making plays off of Steph Curry's gravity. DHO with Paz and the Kings switch. Paz is actually looking on the weak side where Levine is helping off with 1 foot in the paint. As Looney comes for the off-ball pick, Keegan Murray decides to top block Steph, forcing him to cut. Look at this, you have now 3 Kings defenders focused on Steph without the ball. This opens an opportunity for Moses to go higher up on the wing to receive the pass, with Levine needing to close out 12 feet of space. Wide open catch and shoot, and it's a dagger 3. There you guys have it. The Warriors kept their pre-break momentum going, now with added pressure after Draymond promised a championship on live TV. With a shortened rotation, Moses Moody has continued his starting role with consistent minutes and delivered a season-best performance. His confidence has clearly grown, knocking down in-rhythm threes, making the extra play for the shooter, and always being on the right spot in the court. It will be an interesting adjustment with Kuminga coming back, but the fourth-year lottery pick in Moody has slowly come into his own over the last couple months, finding his groove. That would be key for the Warriors, as early in the season, you never knew what you'd get from the role players. Since the Jimmy Butler trade though, everyone seems to be way more locked in. The Dubs have a big play-in rematch against the Mavs tomorrow, so if you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.